All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, I want to talk a little bit about Andrew Jacked. Obviously, he just won the Texas Pro. Obviously, he's a huge fan favorite, and obviously, he's kind of the talk of the bodybuilding industry right now. I think it's fair to say he's one of the most popular bodybuilders of this generation. So that's why I was surprised to see in his recent post, he said, "Back to the drawing board." This is the caption of the post. With the real technician and Psycho Fitness working majorly and strictly on feedback from the judges and nothing else. Just strictly only what's inside the box matters now, completely paying zero attention and having blind and deaf approach to outside the box inside talks. Now, this surprised me a little bit because I didn't know what exactly he was referring to. Looking at the majority of the comments and the other posts and the other video recaps of the Texas Pro, it seemed like no one had a negative word to say about Andrew Jacked. So I was surprised when he said he's ignoring this outside talk. And I was like, what negativity has there been for Andrew? I haven't seen really any. Well, I think I did figure it out. So there was an Olympia TV recap of the Texas Pro where Flex Wheeler was on that show, in addition to several other people, but Flex Wheeler was giving his thoughts specifically on the Texas Pro and Andrew Jacked. And he had a lot to say about Andrew that I think surprised people considering the fact that him and Andrew used to work together. So I think this almost certainly has to be the impetus for the statement made by Andrew Jacked. Because again, I was really surprised to see that caption because it seems like really everybody was extremely impressed with him. But I was reading the comments of this Olympia TV and then I was listening to what Flex had to say, and it seems like people felt like this was overtly negative towards Andrew, again, when you consider the fact that him and Flex used to work together. So this is essentially, well, this is a quote of what he said. And this quote is in reference to his back double bicep pose. This is a conversation they were having about how he hit that pose. And Flex said, and this is a quote, "You have to have that connection." He's talking about mind-muscle connection. "It doesn't seem like he was practicing on his rear double bicep a lot. It's almost an amateur thing, fidgeting around, looking around and all that, trying to recontract and all that stuff. That's a pure sign that you don't have it locked in." Now, Flex was also pretty critical of Hunter Labrada here, saying he was disappointed in how he looked and thought he looked a little bit bloated. So I do want to point out he gave pretty equal criticism to both. Then another thing that he said about Andrew Jacked was about the way that he hit the side tricep, which Tyler Mannion also talked about, how Andrew kind of hits it from the front. And of course, Hunter hits it straight on from the side like it's supposed to be hit. And he said what Andrew is doing is hiding that he doesn't have as powerful hamstrings as Hunter. It's him doing the best with what he has. I'm not sure if we're looking at a still photo. I don't know if the judges are calling for like they normally do, like the mandatory tricep. Then they switch gears and go into their own. That's what it is. That's what he's doing, hiding the hamstrings. So to be completely honest, I didn't feel like Flex was overly critical of Andrew Jacked. People are saying that there's some kind of underlying animosity because him and Flex worked together last year. Now, obviously, Andrew has two new coaches. So people were speculating that because of this, Flex just doesn't like Andrew anymore. I guess something similar like this happened with Flex and Keon Pearson. But to be totally honest, when I was watching this, I didn't feel like it was an attack towards Andrew Jacked. I mean, obviously he was critical, but like I said, he was really pretty critical towards Hunter too. So when I was watching this, because people were saying, this has got to be what Andrew's talking about, you should watch the full Olympia TV. So I did. And when I was watching it, I kept waiting for there to be a super negative part of it. And that was really about it. In addition to that, he didn't really praise Andrew. He overly just didn't really seem impressed with the presentation that Andrew had, and I guess that was really the overall vibe. And that's got to be what Andrew's talking about, because I haven't seen really one iota of negativity towards Andrew about this victory in Texas. I think it was a pretty unanimous decision. The fans, the judges, everybody loves Andrew. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, we've got the official competitor list for the Masters Mr. Olympia, which is this weekend. Now, typically with these pro shows, they release the list a week in advance, the official list. And honestly, I don't see anything different on this list that was not in the initial list that they released months ago of the invite list. Now, so I'm going to read you guys this list, and we're going to talk about some of these names. We got Vladimir Agrinsky, Slavoj Bednar, Robert Burneika, Max Charles, Phil Klahar, Kamal El Gargni, Michael Eli, Vinny Galanti, Kenneth B. Jackson, Rusty Jeffers, Josh Lenardowitz, Sergio Lima, Michael Lynn, Logan Robson, and Fred Biggie Smalls. Now, frankly, I don't know if all of these guys are still competing. We talked a little bit about Josh Lenardowitz, how this was going to be his first show back, and I haven't seen a thing from Josh. Anything training, anything posing, anything physique updates. Really haven't heard much from him at all. I believe maybe Max Charles wasn't on the very first invite list, so I think his name might be an addition here. And again, this is just men's open bodybuilding. They're also going to have 212, they're going to have classic physique, they're going to be men's physique, and it's all going to be over 40 in all those divisions as well. So I know there's a few guys like Hidetaka Yamagishi, Johnny Shreve, I believe David Henry. Yeah, those guys are all doing 212, so you're not going to see them in open, but they are doing the Masters Olympia, just 212. But looking at this list, as far as front runners to win, I'm looking at Phil Klahar. He recently won an open show. I'm looking at Kamal El-Gargni. He's won an open show in the past year. And he qualified for both last year's Open Olympia and 212 Olympia, hence why he's doing the Open Masters Olympia here. I'm looking at Fred Biggie Smalls, who just won the Masters Tampa Pro. Josh Lenardowitz, I feel like, is a wild card because he really was a pretty successful open bodybuilder until he ran into some health issues and had to take some time off. And he was a pretty big guy, so he's kind of a wild card for me here. He's a big name to me in this lineup, but like I said, we have seen nothing from him. And Robert Burneika as well has posted some really impressive updates over the last couple of weeks here. So those are the main guys that I'm looking at. I think that Phil and Kamal are probably more of the front runners there because they've been, winning actual open shows the most recently. Max Charles probably in that mix as well, but Phil, just beat Hassan Mustafa, a much younger and I think much more muscular bodybuilder. And Fred, I think, looked phenomenal at the Masters Tampa Pro, which he won. So I think it'll be an interesting show. I think across all the divisions, we're probably going to see some pretty nice competitive over 40 battles. So I wanted to show you guys a couple physique updates here, the most recent ones that have been posted. This is Robert Burneika's most recent. I think his conditioning looks really good. Robert Burneika, again, I told you guys, he was kind of a mass monster in his day. That's what he was known for, having these giant arms, being one of the bigger guys. Everything that I've seen from him, he looks like he's in really good shape. The only thing I'm really concerned about is his lower body and his midsection. His upper body looks just as big as it was back in the day, to be honest with you. But whether or not the lower body completely matches that is probably what I'm worried about here. But I've been very impressed with the updates that he's posted so far. And this update here was from this week, so within a week of taking the stage. I think he looks really impressive. I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But I think he looks really good. I was looking for a recent update of Kamal, but we haven't had a physique update from him since like July. I don't think it's really worth showing an old physique update, that old. If you look at Fred Smalls, this is the update that he posted one day ago as well from the week of the show. Like I said, I was really impressed with the package that he brought to Tampa. I thought he still had really good legs considering his age. And I do want to clarify that even though if you Google Fred Biggie Smalls, his Wikipedia page comes up and says he's 60. And then his birthday comes up on multiple different pages also saying he's 60 on different bodybuilding forums or whatever. But I'm told he's actually in his late 40s. So he's not as old as I thought he was or as the internet says he is. He's actually late 40s. Now, I can't remember the last time we saw him place in an open show, but I felt like at that Tampa Masters, he looked like a competitive open bodybuilder still. And I guess if he's in his late 40s, that's not that past your prime compared to if he were 60. But I think he's still got some nice open fullness, based on what we saw in Tampa, based on what we're seeing here. He looks a little bit tighter, assuming this is actually taken this week. I think his midsection looks tighter here than it looked at the Tampa Masters, and I think he's probably going to be a pretty competitive factor this weekend. Now, I double-checked Josh's page, still nothing from him. The most recent physique update from Josh is from 2020 on there. I double-checked Phil Klahar's page, no recent updates since the Orlando Pro where he beat Hassan Mustafa. And I double-checked Max Charles's page as well. No recent updates from him either. So as far as the Masters Olympia goes, I know we haven't talked a whole lot about it or about the competitors. I've tried to keep you guys posted here and there, but really, a lot of the biggest names in this lineup haven't really posted anything. So we don't really have that much to go on as far as how these guys are looking. But I would say, like I said, just looking at recent placings, you got to be looking at Phil Klahar as a favorite here. You got to be looking at Fred Smalls as a favorite here. Kamal, despite his age, has still been really in the mix in both 212 and open recently. But I guess we'll find out this weekend. It kind of makes me wonder, this lack of updates, if some of these guys are still on this list but maybe not doing the show. I mean, it is Romania. It's not like an easy flight. Now, the final story that I want to talk about today, I want to show you guys the two most recent physique updates from Regan Grimes. who's just a couple weeks now from taking the stage. Showing off a couple back shots here. Now, one was posted today, and one was posted 2 days ago. It looks like he's wearing the same stuff here, so it might be from the same session. But he's showing off a pretty thick, dense back. He's got really deep, striated hamstrings. Seems like a pretty good amount of detail and thickness in his back. And we've seen a lot of updates from Blessing, too, who he's going to be facing. And I think, I mentioned this when I talked about the Texas Pro. The Texas Pro, I think, was the third most competitive show in the last year behind the Olympia, the Arnold Classic, and then Texas Pro with Andrew Jack, Carlos Thomas Jr., and Hunter Labrada. Just highly competitive, pretty deep lineup across the board, looking at 212, classic physique. Just a really good, just overall show. I think these upcoming shows that Regan is doing are going to be the Italy show, the Spain show, the European Championships. I think they're going to be on par with the Texas Pro and maybe even a little bit more competitive, because I've heard that Carlos Thomas Jr. is going to go do either the Italy or the Spain show, and I'm told they're a week apart, and I'm told it's like a 1 to 2 hour flight, the distance between the two shows. So if you're already going to be overseas, stay there for an extra week and do the other show, and it's like an hour flight or whatever. So I think likely at both shows, you're going to see, well, we know we're only going to see good Vito at the European Championships, but you're going to see good Vito. You're going to see Regan Grimes. You're going to see Nathan Diasha. You're going to see Blessing Awodabu. Now you're potentially going to see Carlos Thomas Jr. at either or both. Theo LaGuerrier, I think there's a chance that he's at both, and he won a show last year, qualified for the Olympia. Vlad Sukaruchko, he's a show-winning bodybuilder as well. He's going to be at either or both. So these two upcoming shows, I think, are going to be two of the most competitive that we've seen all year. I mean, when you consider the fact that some of these shows that we've seen here in the States have only had 5 or 6 bodybuilders total, and not the world's best bodybuilders. I just named like half a dozen guys that are show-winning, Olympia qualifying bodybuilders, all at the same show, and that doesn't even account for the guys that we don't know that are doing the show. So I think if you guys enjoyed what we saw in Texas, you're going to be in for a treat for these next couple shows in Italy and Spain. I think people will be surprised by the quality of competition we see at these next couple lineups. And then, if any of these guys don't qualify there, you've got that Legion Sports Festival here in the States, the very last qualifying opportunity for the Olympia this year. I think we could see a lot of them show up there to try to get that last-minute spot at the Olympia. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Click the bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.